You can never make me feel envy when I know deep down you feel empty. That's why you overcompensating. Your moves don't match what you be saying. I wanna stay, but you be playing. How many times I gotta say this?
What's up, gang? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Janique, and I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are a returning subscriber, I appreciate you so much for trusting me with your content. And if you are new here, you might as well go ahead and lock into my channel by clicking on that subscribe button and also by clicking on the notification bell. That way you never miss an episode of anything that I'm doing here. Today, I want to talk to you guys about forgiveness as a believer. So if you are interested in hearing more about that topic, make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, boom. So one of the hardest things to do as a believer, I think, is to forgive somebody that has wronged you. I get done wrong 24/7. I'm not going to lie. I get done wrong by everybody I encounter. Some people are good people, but most times somebody is coming to wrong me so they could teach me a lesson that I need to take it to the next relationship I encounter. So I deal with a lot of people stabbing me in my back. I deal with a lot of people talking, nice to me in my face, but they talk bad about me behind my back. A lot of people who share secrets, a lot of people who are envious, and they tell other people how they feel about you as opposed to you. So I just deal with a lot of disloyalty, and I have made a point to be a person who gives someone multiple chances. So before I cut you off, you have been given opportunities to correct your behavior. So when it comes to forgiveness, it's something that I think should automatically be done when somebody wrongs you. So forgiveness is really for you. It's not for the other person. Forgiveness is really for you so you don't have to carry around the trauma that you experienced at the hands of that other person and turn into who they tried to make you become. Now, another reason I think forgiveness is important, besides, of course, having peace, right? Because some people you see turn bitter at the hands of trauma. They take it with them for the rest of their lives. All you hear them talk about and recount is this one experience that they had that was so negative that it totally impacted their view of anything else for the rest of their life. Another reason to practice forgiveness besides being peaceful is to show the other person who wronged you that you're really better than them. They already thought you were better than them in the first place, which is why they sat right there and tried to do whatever they did to you. But you show them that you truly are the superior person by forgiving them for whatever they did. It doesn't matter what they did. It says in the Bible, if your neighbor smacks one cheek or if someone smacks one cheek, turn the other cheek to them and allow them to smack the other. So it's not a literal thing. Of course, I don't condone violence. If somebody put their hands on you, make sure you let them know that they can't do it to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So don't just take no whippings. But when somebody does something wrong to you, don't take it to heart, because at the end of the day, it says more about who they are as a person than who you are. You understand? People who go through life trying to hurt good people, trying to do wrong to people who have done no wrong to them, those are the worst types of people, because it means you have something deep within you that you need to heal in order to not do things like that against people who have done nothing to you. The third reason to practice forgiveness is to allow God to forgive you, because how do you expect God to forgive you for what you do against him if you don't forgive other people? Now, recently, y'all know I got to tell me a story in every video. Now, recently, I have talked a lot about what I've experienced in my life in a lot of my videos, and I think it's no coincidence that my family is trying to come back and make amends with me. I truly believe that the people who watch my videos are people that I know and people who have experienced me through some walk of life. Some people, of course, have never encountered me, and this is God's first time putting me in front of them. But a lot of people who have wronged me, I know, watch these videos. So this is what I'm going to say. I am so big on loyalty because I want to give loyalty to other people. I'm a loyal person. I stand on it. I require it from the people in my life because I'm going to reciprocate that to them. So when I can't trust you, when I feel like you're going to be disloyal to me behind my back, when I can't really tell who you're going to be to me every single day, when your character is not consistent, of course I'm not going to want to be around you. Of course I'm not going to want to interact with you on a daily basis. So let me tell y'all about my story. So recently one of my parents, I'm not going to say who it is, one of my parents has been reaching out to me And this particular parent has never really told me they love me. Both of my parents, I really can't even say when they told me they love me. Like, I say maybe once in my life, but I have never really heard it from them. So, and I'm saying once because I keep telling myself, like, you heard it at least once, but I don't really recall being told I love you by my parents. My parent that recently reached out to me, this parent always tries to check in on me, but whenever I say something to try to get deep or develop our relationship, or even just, you know, to tell them what I'm going through or tell them what I've been doing or anything like that, anything positive, this parent stops replying. This parent does not say anything positive to me. This parent doesn't say anything positive at all unless it's about my child. They might say or comments or compliment my child's looks. But other than that, this parent does not really say anything too much to me to develop or deepen our bond, even though this parent birthed me. So kind of tells y'all who the parent is. But so I was like, maybe this parent feels some type of way about something I did. I don't know. Maybe I did something against it. Maybe I did something to this parent that this parent has not forgiven yet. And maybe I just need to say something because I don't like the energy between me and this parent. Like, I don't know what it is, but this parent will not get deep with me. This parent will not call me on the phone. This parent only sends me text messages. I think it's so weird. So this parent reached out to me a few days ago, and I said, I sent a long message over, basically letting them know that I have a new respect for them being a parent myself, and I understand why they may have made some of the decisions they made in their life, and, you know, and a list of other things, just trying to get deep with this parent and let them know that I love them. I said that as well. I said, I love you. This parent didn't even respond to me, y'all. When they did respond to me, it kind of confirmed for me what I already knew, because people can only give you what they have to give. If a person doesn't have any love to give, they're not going to show that to you. They're going to show you they behind. You get what I'm saying? So when this parent did not respond to me expressing my love to them, I'm not going to say it hurt my feelings, but it just put into perspective why I act the way I do towards my family members, because there's no love where I come from. I had to create this love, and God had to bless me with it in order for me to even show it to my child. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to talk to this family member anymore. Like, I can't do it. I can't sit right here and pour love into you, and I can't get any in return. Like, what do I got to do to earn your love? Like, and I'm not going to do anything. Let me be clear. I'm not going to do anything to earn anyone's love. I'm just going to be myself. And if you can't show up and love me as I am, then it says more about you than it does me. So, and I think a lot of times people in our family hate us for who we become, because we're the total opposite of who they thought we'd be. We're the total opposite of who they wanted us to be. They wanted us to be just like them. But no, I learned from your mistakes, and I decided I didn't want to go the route that you went, which is the reason that I'm taking a different path. So people don't respect that about you. They only respect you when you're just like them. Like, no. I choose to be better. So not only did this parent hit me up, but I got a phone call from a sibling. So this sibling actually reached out to me after I came back from my New York trip in December and said, you were in New York, because they live up north too. Like, you were in New York. Why didn't you reach out to me? And I'm like, well, you got this many kids. Like, I didn't want to inconvenience your life just because I'm coming into town real quick or whatever. Like, you don't live in the same state that I was in. You would have had to drive. Really, I'm more thinking about you than I am myself. I'm just trying to be considerate. But, if I thought you wanted to see me, I would have reached out to you, but I didn't think that. So this person, instead of communicating with me and letting me know that what I thought was wrong or incorrect, they just did not respond, right? So to get a phone call from them yesterday, I'm like, okay, what's going on? They called me one time, I didn't answer. And this person is calling me from Facebook. So you don't even have my number. This says a lot about our relationship, right? So this person called me on Facebook. I didn't answer. They called me again. I'm like, this must be an emergency. Let me answer. I still didn't answer. I called them back. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They was like, well, guess where I'm at? Where are you at? Like, what's with the games? And they tell me they're with another sibling of mine who I'm not talking to either. Why are you calling me? That's the type of stuff where I'd be like, it's so not genuine. Like, why are you giving me a call then if you're with this person who I'm also not talking to? And this person tells me how, they asked me, can they come visit me? Like, where am I at? Can they come visit me? I'm like, I'm in Houston. Sure, come visit. They like, wow, you love me enough. They was like, are you going to pick me up from the airport? I'm like, sure. They was like, wow, you love me enough to pick me up from the airport. I'm like, what are you being weird for? If you genuinely want to come see me, you'll call me when you're by yourself, and you're going to set up some details with me. You're not going to call me on Facebook when you're with somebody else I'm not talking to because y'all just finished discussing me clearly and try to be all fake on the phone. Like, what are you talking about? And I said, sure. I'm just sitting there on the phone because I thought it was an emergency. That's the only reason I even called back. So to get this conversation, I'm all thrown off. First of all, you're putting words in my mouth because I didn't say that. I hate when people look for love outside of themselves. So this person, when I said, this person said, I don't feel loved by you. Wow, I don't feel loved by you. I said, there's a lot of that going around. My job here on earth is not to make you feel loved. It's to love myself and to love my child. It's not to love my older sibling who has had the opportunity to build a relationship with me and has chosen not to. So you giving me a call after you didn't text me back a few months ago, I don't understand. Just because you're with somebody else I'm not talking to. These people be so weird. But I wanted to be clear about forgiveness. Forgiveness is, again, for yourself first, but it's also for people who want to be forgiven. If someone doesn't come to you and admit their wrongs and y'all can't hash out what happened and y'all can't discuss what happened and be open and honest and openly communicate about whatever the disconnect was between you two, then this person, do they deserve forgiveness? Because I think basic forgiveness, when you forgive someone in your heart, when you don't feel any type of way or hold any malice towards whatever they did to you, that's automatically forgiven. There's a second level of forgiveness where you can actually have a relationship with this person. You understand? You can actually coexist with this person. That second layer of forgiveness is only for people who can admit their wrongs. If someone cannot come to you and literally talk about what happened in the past that caused you guys to disconnect in the first place, that second level of forgiveness, I'm not about giving it to people. I'm about giving the basic level of forgiveness so I can receive forgiveness from my Father in heaven. Now, this brings me to a story that I recently read in the Bible, because the other day yesterday when my sibling called me, I had spoke with a friend after, and my friend was like, she's real close with her family. I love her family to death, actually. So she real close with her family. And she's like, that's your family, girl. You know how family is, but that's your family. And I hate when people say that, because your family's awesome. You get what I'm saying? I've hung around them. I see how they act and how they treat you and how they love on you every chance they get. And they're not ashamed to openly express the love that they have for you, as well as other members of the family. It's a different type of love that you receive from your people, as opposed to what I get from the people that I've grown up with. So you can't really say that, because if you had the type of family I had and we switched roles, you would not be saying the same thing. But that's why we're all giving different paths and different journeys of life, because we're all meant to do different things. How she grew up and the love that she receives from her family allows her to be who she needs to be in her life. And me not being able to receive the love from people that I grew up with, or people in my own household, or people that I share blood with, that made me the person that I am, so I can be on here and able to detach emotionally from what happened to me. That way I could come over here and give guidance to people who are probably going through the same thing. Just because they're your family, if they do not contribute to the peace that you need to survive here on earth, then you need to cut them off. I don't care that you share blood with the person. Those are old, outdated beliefs. The belief the nerve of people back in the day to come up with an idea that if someone wrongs you, you should be friends with them or you should be super close with them after. That's not the case at all, because at the end of the day, that person showed you exactly who they were. Example in the Bible, when Joseph's brothers were jealous of him and they sold him into slavery, and he ended up becoming, right up under Pharaoh. He ended up being the person to save their family during the famine. It's like his brothers were scared that he was going to seek revenge, but he had forgiven them in his heart already. You understand? That first level of forgiveness was already given to them. He wasn't mad, because at the end of the day, even though they didn't show him love and they sold him into slavery, he still became the best version of himself. It didn't matter what he lacked from them. He still got it from others around him. After I spoke with my friend and she kind of told me it was family, I let her know, like, respectfully, you have an amazing group of people around you. I can understand why you would say that. And I wish that these people that I call family would act the way that your family acts. I would love that. You understand? But that's just not what I get. I get a different response from the people that I call family. So, when I can get to where you are with your family, I would love that. But I'm not going to sit right here and force any relationships. You understand? When people truly have no malice in their heart for you, it'll come across when they speak to you. It'll come across in their tone and their energy when it presents itself. Even how they choose to interact with you, it's not going to be fake or forced. Now, so after that, I got off the phone with her and I was like, I gotta get some peace about this subject, because she was trying to make me feel bad about not talking to them. I'm like, about not trusting that they wanted to build a relationship with me. I'm like, girl, let me read the Bible. I get in the Bible and I come across a story that I'm going to share with you guys in Matthew. It was chapter 18, starting at verse 21. Because I didn't know I was going to read this. I just jumped in Matthew and I didn't know what kind of story I was going to come across. And says, you know, he asked Yahshua, how many times should I forgive my brother and sister? So he says 70 times 7. In the scripture, I believe it exactly says 77. But if you look at the subtext, or, you know, when you go to the bottom of the scripture, it tells you like in detail what it really meant. But it says 70 times 7. So it says keep forgiving, basically. You forgive them as many times as you need to forgive them, because forgiveness is not for you, really. It's for your peace, but at the same time, it's for God to forgive you for what you do against him. You can't ask for something that you cannot reciprocate. It just doesn't work like that. So then Yahshua proceeds to tell a story about a king who wanted to settle some accounts, and the king went to one of his servants who owed him money, and the servant cried and begged and asked him to be patient with him, and he says, I'll pay you back. So the king had mercy on him and forgave him, right? That same servant who begged for mercy, who begged for patience, who begged for forgiveness from his loan, he had someone who owed him money. He had a servant who owed him money. So he went to that servant and tried to get his money. And the servant said the same thing to him. Please be patient with me. I will pay you back. And instead of forgiving the servant, he had the man thrown in prison. He had the man locked up. He had the man locked up for not paying back his debt. But somebody just forgave him for his debt. And that hit me so hard. It hit me so hard. So somebody went back and told the king what happened, and he approached the man who chose not to forgive somebody after he was forgiven. And the king told him he was wicked for that, and he decided to have him tortured until he was able to pay back his debt. So you see how that comes full circle? Oh my God. It's like after you get something or receive something, it's like you're tested on the same thing over again just to see if you would do the same for other people. I'm so big on having people around me who would do things for me that I would do for them. It's so important to forgive other people when they sin against you, because we want God to forgive us when we sin against him. That's really the moral of this story that I'm telling you guys right here. It's like, how do we want forgiveness, but we won't give it out to other people? You understand? So when I don't get treated right, or when I try to get deep, or when I try to have real conversations with the people who want to be in my life, and we can't sit right here and have a decent conversation where you really tell me how you feel and what you think I did against you to sin against you, or to make you feel some type of way, or to make you act towards me the way that you act. And I can't even have a conversation with you about it, but you want my forgiveness, but you won't give it to me. It's a thing. So again, people in your life who ask for forgiveness, and I want to be clear about the story that I just told about the kings and the servants. The servant asked the king for forgiveness. So that's a big thing as well when it comes to that second layer of forgiveness. It's when people ask you for forgiveness, and that way y'all are able to rebuild the bond, or y'all are able to rebuild the trust between you two. When people don't ask for forgiveness, and when people don't seek forgiveness from you, you still want to have that first layer intact, to where, you know, you forgave because it's for you. You understand? But that second layer of forgiveness, that's for them, where they want to build a relationship again. If they don't ask for forgiveness, why do you owe that to them? You really don't. You really don't. So I just wanted it to be I want it to be clear about forgiveness among believers. This is how you truly forgive as a believer. You forgive it in your heart first because you want God, your Father, to forgive you when you sin against him. And then secondly, you forgive them when they come to you and ask for the forgiveness, okay? When they come to you and ask, have no problem at all, because it takes a big person to ask for forgiveness. A lot of people are so prideful and in their ego, they'll never admit to you that they did something wrong. They'll never admit to you that they owe you an apology or anything else or an explanation for what they did to you. They'll never admit that. So those people who have the nerve, who have the spirit to come back and relay an apology to you, you have to take that into consideration, because it's not a small thing at all. It's huge when people ask for forgiveness. So have no problem at all rebuilding those types of bonds, those types of relationships. But those people who can't even admit to you what happened, nah, I'm good on those people. Let me tell another little story. I had a guy who keeps trying to get back in my life. It really irks my nerves when people come back, actually. But this particular guy keeps trying to come back into my life, and I might entertain it for like a day or two until he does what he already did to get kicked out of my life in the first place. So communication is important to me, because if you don't communicate with somebody on a daily basis, like there's a lot that you can miss between each other, because a lot can happen in 24 hours. So this particular guy, he'll apologize. Every time he does something to me, he apologizes. Every time he does something I don't like, he apologizes, which is the reason I'll give him another chance. But I started thinking, like, okay, I done forgave you about 77 times now. I done forgave all of those. I can't sit right here and do that second layer of forgiveness over and over again with you. All I have is the first one for you. We only can reach a level 1, and that's cool. That level 2 forgiveness, that's going to come with some changed behavior. You understand? So I ended up blocking him. He called me private, like, why'd you block me? I said, you know why I blocked you. And he apologized and told me he was sick, which is the reason he didn't communicate with me. And it's so sad that grown people feel like they gotta lie. You grown, we're not married. Stop lying. It's just like, it's insulting as well. It's like, but how many times I gotta sit right here and forgive you for the same thing over and over again? It's just like you're testing my patience. So be clear about that as well. If somebody keeps doing something over and over again to you, they're repeat offenders, and I talked about that in another video, so make sure you check that out. But if they're repeat offenders, those are the type of people we don't do level 2 forgiveness with. But level 1, we have that for everybody. Level 2 has to be earned. I hope you enjoyed my message today. If you did, make sure you check out some of my other messages, and I will see you in the next video. Janique here, Janique TV. Peace.